So today I'm working at the church by myself, and one of the things that I was reminded to do by Jen Wilshaw's presentation Wednesday night at Westside was to make sure I get up and walk throughout the day. That sitting is the new smoking and is incredibly harmful to our health. So I'm a walker. I've been walking consistently for about 15 years, and it's been a life-changing practice for me. One of the things that I found interesting recently is years ago I read a book by Julia Cameron called The Artist's Way. And in that book, which is really for all artists, and all of us are artists, in that book she gave a couple practices that she felt were critical to nurture our own creativity and to keep that part of us alive. And there were two practices. The first was called morning pages. And she said that when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you should do is literally just write 2 pages in a journal. Anything, your thoughts, your feelings, your dreams, whatever it is that's on your heart to write. And to do that quickly without any censor. So those of you that journal understand a little bit more of that mystery of what can happen when we just let things out and put them on paper. Something begins to flow. The second practice that she shared was to make an artist's date, which was to do something at least once a month that was completely non-productive, that wasn't going to accomplish anything except to put yourself in a place where you could appreciate art, whether it's the beauty of God's creation, whether it's the works of art in a museum, whether it's going to a live music event, but something where your goal was just simply to appreciate something. Well, years later, she was reflecting on this book, and she said, today I'd add a third practice, and that practice is to go out and walk every day. She said, what I've discovered is that practice of getting out and moving and getting into God's creation, and if you can't get outside, even walking around inside like I'm doing right now, that somehow that unlocks something in us. When we're stuck, when life is pressing down upon us, when things just feel overwhelming, just to get up, get off your seat, get off the couch if you're able to, and just start moving. Things begin to happen. And I can say from my own experience that the practice of walking over these last 15 years has not only helped me physically, but emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And so today I invite you as your prayer practice to just get out and walk. Walk somewhere. And find a way in the midst of your walking to get in touch with the gift of being able to move, the gift of remembering how big this world is and God's creation is. And I invite you to pay attention to the shifts that can happen in our body, in our heart, in our mind, and in our spirit. Just recently, we reflected on that wonderful story of the 2 disciples after Jesus has died, walking together, talking about all these things, grieving, confused. And then a stranger comes up alongside them on their journey, and he begins to ask them questions. And it isn't until later that they realize that the reason their heart was burning as they were walking on the way to Emmaus was because the Christ was with them. The Christ is with us. So in our moving, in our walking, in our praying, may we be open to that great mystery. Amen.